Test check, microphone check. ¿Qué pasó, mi hermanos y hermanas de diferentes mamás, de los otros mamás? I think I'm live. I just wanted to test the sound by speaking in Spanish. We're having trouble streaming to Facebook. This may be an issue on Facebook's end. Is it possible the stream was ended or deleted on Facebook? Yes, it is possible. Hey guys, what's up? I'm so sorry. We're having some tech issues because forget the interwebs. Al Gore, you just messed up my life so much. We lived in peace and harmony without cell phones, without pagers, without, really a lot of technology that we have today on. And yet here we are. We did just fine back then. We still made it. And yet here we are just beating our heads against walls, trying to figure out the audio and visual issues here. But I'm so glad you joined us. My name's Matt Latham. I am a board-certified master arborist and ASCA registered consulting arborist. And this is Ask an Arborist Live Q&A. We've been doing this since about early last year, May, I think, March, April, May, sometime in there. And we started this fun little, hey, what's up, Sojay? Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. Yes, and I think that was you that told us earlier. And, man, I really appreciate that. I had no idea. I'm just over here talking to myself. I didn't even know it. I got Lucas in my earbuds, too, so I wasn't completely talking to myself, but that's good, at least, because I hear that's a sign of insanity. Or maybe just normalcy. I'm not sure. They change the science and the psychology behind that every day, it seems. But I'm so glad you guys are here. Listen, we built this fun little Ask an Arborist community group. We started off with about 100 members, and we are up to around 5,000 members after just one short year. So at least 100 per week is how much we've grown. We got up to almost 400 per week that we were growing every single week for a few weeks. So it's just been a fun ride, and we started this group kind of as an outreach. Now, I run a little company called Arborist on Demand, and if you need help figuring out the right choice, the right solutions for your trees, we wanted this to be a great resource, just a good place where you can get good, solid arborist information about the trees you love and live around or manage. We work with a lot of fellow tree guys, a lot of landscapers, a lot of property managers, etc., who manage trees or care for trees on a regular basis, some golf course owners, things like that. Just to provide solid advice. We actually, it's really been cool. I've got a few tree friends of mine. I call them business friends. Tree companies that we work with, that it's so fun. We can actually help increase their marketability in the market. We can increase their ability to get contracts that they wouldn't ordinarily be able to access just by providing me as an arborist or one of our other arborists as the consultant on staff, essentially. And we did this, like I said, I unfortunately, there's only about 40,000 certified arborists on this whole planet. Just to put that into perspective, there are around 450,000 attorneys just in the U.S. So that shows you where our priorities are in this world. And so we did this as a way to help people who want good quality arboricultural advice, and have that as a means where they can get access to that for a very, very cost-effective way to do that, which is, thank God, we have the internet. I know I was complaining about it earlier, but that allows me the ability to outreach all over the U.S. Let's take a look at some of them. These are the more recent ones that came in the past, I think, 2 days since our last live stream, and then we'll get to some of the ones that came over Christmas and New Year's holidays. So Miranda's asking, this is my favorite tree. In the summer, it's gorgeous. Now in January, I've noticed these light gray areas with dark black spots. The black area is hard as the bark. Please help. That looks like, Miranda, that looks like a bleeding wound canker of some sort. It looks like a live oak, but if it's losing its leaves in the winter, I don't think it's a live oak. I'm not sure what that could be. The branch structure actually just looks spot on live oak. The canopy looks like an ash, but it could be like a black walnut, maybe. Maybe you know, Miranda. If you know, let me know. But what I see as a bleeding wound canker, I see that as kind of a stain from essentially there's a fungus or a bacteria that's living in the inside of your tree. And as it unalives the tissue, it starts to bleed out. The tree is going to essentially kind of open up that wound and let it bleed out, get rid of some of the pathogens. So it looks to me like that's what you're dealing with. Looks like it's in a park, maybe. No, that's not a park. That's your house. Maybe. But beautiful tree. I do see some signs of compaction on the soil, so you might want to look at maybe aerating the soil. Or for the longer term solution, just create a mulch ring. That's your best bet right there. Is if you create a mulch ring about 2 to 4 inches thick, no more, 1 to 2 inches thick, no more. Then what that's going to do is emulate the forest floor. I have a theory, Miranda. I think God did it best. When you walk into a forest, the forest works. Now, we do have some man-made problems like emerald ash borer and woolly adelgid and things like that. So those are some exceptions to the rule, of course. There are always exceptions to the rules. But for the most part, a healthy tree is going to remain healthy, and an unalived or an unhealthy tree is going to remain unhealthy. So what you want to do is basically take your mulch, use an organic source if you can. Now, let's see if I can move this a little closer so you can see me here. And so let's say you've got a tree here, and it's got a nice fluffy canopy. Woo, that's the worst. That's like a child drew that tree. What you want to do is don't put it right here. No way. What you want to do, though, is come about 2 to 4 inches, go out to the edge of the canopy is your best bet, or even further is even better. And just do nice organic mulch. And what that's going to do is it's going to feed the microbes, feed the tree, feed the forest floor, and essentially recreate that forest floor. And that is where a tree is designed to be. So that's going to be your best bet. Make sure you're getting rid of some of that grass that's around there, and you could just throw the mulch on top. If you want to do even better, do a 1/4 to 1/2 inch layer of organic compost. This is mulch. You want to do that underneath the mulch. And what that'll do is the compost is going to be already very microbially active. It's going to help jumpstart the breakdown of the mulch itself. So I think it's a great looking tree. It looks like a bleeding wound canker. That could be Phytophthora. That could be a whole host of different fungal and bacterial pathogens like bacterial wet wood and things like that. But I don't see it as a really, really big problem. I see it as a small problem, and it could turn into a big problem if you don't do anything about it. So I hope that helps, Miranda. We are moving on. So we've got Victor over here is asking about his beautiful live oak. And wow, Victor, you got a lot going on with this tree. Let's take a look at it. Saying if there's any solution to this matter, wondering what's going on, need an opinion about what's going on with this live oak. Thanks in advance. So we've got a live oak, and you got a lot of bark missing, Victor. This is not good. Wow. Wow. What else we got? I will say this, Victor. The tree has been sealing and healing that wound for a very long time. All of this new tissue under here, where the bark is kind of fluffing off and exposing that different colored tissue there, that's all good. We call it callus wood. That's good compartmentalization tissue. That's the tree doing exactly what it's supposed to do and sealing that wound. But that is a massive wound. I'm not even going to lie. That's like, what, 40-50% of the tree's cambium? So you got a lot going on here. Now, I will say this. I don't have enough information to really diagnose this and tell you exactly what's going on. I need to see the base of the tree, and I need to see a far away picture and maybe a little history. But if I were a betting man, and I'm not, I would say you probably got a limb that was improperly removed here. It was pruned too close at the top there and too far away at the base there, and it looks like maybe it like peeled down. Sometimes that'll happen whenever you've got a limb that's removed, is the limb will actually peel down. So Got a tree here, you got a limb here. I'm not going to show you the whole tree, but as this tree breaks, what'll happen is this tissue down here, my daughter must have got to this pin, y'all. Sorry. What'll happen is as the limb falls, it will peel and rip this tissue right here. And what you'll have happen is this big streak that comes down there. So I'm wondering if that wasn't a poorly removed, ooh, that's a good point. I didn't even see that. Yeah. You gotta. That's a good point. So JK. So JK. Is that JK but different account? I miss you, JK. If that's you. That's fun. Anyways, yeah, you've got a swing on the bottom here. To me, it looks like a limb was cut or broke in some sort of storm or something like that, and it peeled down. That could also be some sort of fungal pathogen that was able to enter the tree. Ooh, y'all don't want to look at my ugly mug. You want to look at the tree. It could be you got like some sort of fungal pathogen that entered the tree, and it just started going down there, unaliving the tree's tissue. But good news is, Victor, is you've got a lot of good compartmentalization tissue. The tree is doing okay. You want to make sure to give it a little extra resources. That's funny. What's up, JK? Lucas, that's JK. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, great to see you. That's so fun. Welcome back. It's been a minute. Glad you're here with us. Let me take the Bluetooth off so you can hear Lucas as well. Say hi, Lucas. Wait, it's not on. Okay, hold on. I don't know how to run my phone, apparently. Okay, now say hi, Lucas. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Jay?
That's fun. That's too funny. Yeah, I had no idea, JK. That's great. Well, welcome back. Welcome back. We're up to like 5,000 members now on the Facebook page if you haven't joined us yet. But anyways, Victor, yeah, I think you've got a lot of history here. I don't see anything massive or problematic. Hey, that's fun. I do see maybe a little bit of frass here, but it's the chicken and the egg scenario. Which came first, the bug or the diseased, damaged tissue? Yeah, we're only growing from there. I mean, we're gonna blow this thing up. The goal is maybe by this next coming year, maybe 10x what we've got here. We're growing by about 20 a day right now, and it's been wild. Here's the problem: is I'm trying to balance work in this. Somebody say this is like work, but no, I don't get paid for this. This is just me helping some cool people out with their trees. And so at some point I actually have to go back to work and do things. I still got to finish that book, y'all. When are you going to let me stop asking questions so I can go finish my book or whatever? So anyways, Lucas and I are also working on some really cool AI technology to kind of take over the industry. I just built a little application the other day, and Lucas is the real expert, so he's going to tell me how messed up I made it. But I built a little application that basically does like tree appraisals on the fly using the trunk formula technique. So it's pretty cool. Again, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble if I put it out there for the world to see yet, but all right, we're moving on. Cesar, Damian Lopez. Hope we'll have a cool app website that'll be a fun arborist assistant. That's exactly right. Yeah, Lucas has got some brilliant. Hey, what's up, Sprout? Welcome back, dude. Glad to have you here, man. Yeah, so essentially we are training these robots to basically think like me. What am I looking at when I look at y'all's trees? And hopefully we won't mess it up. We gotta like disclose, make sure we make absolute sure that we're not giving away bad information. And when we do, make sure to let them know that, hey, this is a robot saying this and not a real human, real arborist. But it is what it is. Little bugs to work out. And Sprout, you haven't missed much, buddy. We've just been talking. We actually had some tech issues, so I had to go offline for a minute, and I'm delayed. I'm sick as a dog too, y'all. So you could probably hear it in my voice. But we're gonna have some fun anyways. That's the way we roll up in here. So a couple weeks ago, Cesar cut back this crepe myrtle that had been previously topped very severely It seemed it was struggling to recover, and I realized I essentially did the same thing again. It's frowned upon, but the top portion of the limbs was just completely unalived. My question is, should I cut back even further to try to get it to even out, since it's also kind of leaning, and also so that it maybe blooms better next year, or should I leave it be for the time being? In the last photo, you can see how it was before. Okay. Oh, gross. That's a struggling butt tree. Wow. Cesar, you got an extremely compacted soil with possibly a ton of herbicides being used in the form. Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's a really good point, Sprout. We want to make sure to disclose it. You know, when I went to consulting academy with the American Society of Consulting Arborists, one of the main things they drilled into us is disclose. So every arborist report that I write has a little section in the introduction section. I want to make sure front and center, what are my limitations of the assignment? Was I there? Was I not there? Did I climb the tree? Did I not climb the tree? If I didn't climb the tree, was that limiting? Is that going to limit my ability as an arborist to make a good judgment on it? Did I do it in Ireland and I don't have time to fly to Ireland, so do we just do it via a Zoom chat? You know, like that's happened, and I have to disclose that. So yes, we have to make absolute sure that we disclose that. Hey, we've trained it, we've done our research. We want to make sure this robot is alive and kicking, alive as it can be. It's just a robot. But yeah, a disclosure. So when I'm talking to other arborists and when I'm training other arborists to be good consultants, that's the main thing I say is like, look, you can do your job and be limited. That's a very real possibility. In fact, every court case, there are certain limitations to that court case. Did we have video? No. If we didn't, well, that's limiting. We can't actually visually see it. We have to rely on expert testimonials and eyewitness testimonials, things like that. So, yeah, it's absolutely, no, you're spot on. We have to make sure to verify and disclose those things. I got great, insurance, professional insurance, but that doesn't mean I want to call them and use it. So, all right, sorry, Cesar, back to your tree, your crepe myrtle here. Yeah, you've got an herbicide situation for sure. You've got a beautiful yard and no weeds at all that I can tell, maybe like a little sprig or two back here. But it looks like you've got a compacted soil with a really, really well manufactured lawn, and that usually is a recipe for disaster. So what I would do is absolutely leave it alone. It looks like you've maybe got an unalived crepe myrtle there, but I could be wrong. What you don't want to do is just keep hack chopping and slicing. Leave it alone for a minute. Let it do its thing. Let it grow all next season. My AI does not recommend that, Sprout. It does not recommend topping. It recommends, well, I recommend on occasional topping as a last resort to keep the tree up in the air while we get something else established. That's the only reason. There can be a reason for that according to ANSI 300 standards, but yeah, no, right? Yeah, major glitch in the AI is like, top your tree! Yeah, that's a major glitch, and most of the tree guys around Houston too, by the way. Sorry. My bad. Sorry, competition. Didn't mean to knock on you. Cesar, I think you've got possibly an unalive tree. The main thing, take a drill, do some vertical mulching, and let me get the website for you. I'll go ahead and give you a link to vertical mulching. You basically just take a drill bit, pop it on your drill holes every 1 to 2 feet, and backfill with organic compost. By the way, if you haven't visited yet, we're really trying to grow our YouTube channel. We've got about 807 subscribers now. I haven't really done much in the past month. Yeah, I love that, Sprout. Molasses is a great resource there too, and you can get from MicroLife a great product called Soil and Plant Energy. It's really a wonderful resource because it provides a ton of humic acid and a ton of molasses. And those are all just going to help to help the soil thrive, and the tree thrive. You could spray it on the tree, you could spray it all around the soil, but I think you really, Cesar, I think you got an extremely compacted soil there, and you've got to decompact it. So vertical mulching is going to be your best friend. Let's check it out. I know I've done a few videos on vertical mulching. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, hallucinations are real. The struggle is real when it comes to AI. They're hallucinogenic by nature. They don't need drugs. Can I say drugs online without getting doxxed? Maybe. Yeah, that's funny. Y'all do me a favor, hit that like button, because I just doxed myself again. So I need all the support I can get, you guys. All right, Alexandra had a really awesome question, and this has been a fun little conversation. You see me, I'm like super popular here with 112 likes on mine. But Alexandra was asking, and I think this was after our last live stream, wasn't it, dude? Wasn't it, Lucas? Okay. Yeah, so this came in, and I jumped on it and started answering because, quite frankly, this is straight up a litigation. This is like right up my alley. This is the kind of stuff I deal with every day. Help, I bought a property in Central Florida. It has about 100 cedar trees, about 35 years old, planted along my fence line. They are virgin trees, virgin meaning untouched. Don't get weird. Somebody came on last live stream and they're like, do you get freaky with the trees? And I'm like, well, if you mean like a ported steel 462, then yes. If you mean like, touching trees, like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, no, that's weird, man. Don't be weird. Anyways, virgin trees, that doesn't mean what you think it means. It means they've been untouched. Incredible privacy, as are virgin trees. And the power line company wants to cut 10 to 15 feet of the top off of it. Yeah, JK. Friggin' people, man. Yeah, read Genesis 6. I think we're in a similar generation. The thoughts were only wicked always. Yeah, there you go. You're an angel. So that would be, what would that be? B'nai Ha Elohim in the Hebrew, or what? Is that different? We could play games all day if you want, Lucas. So anyways, virgin trees. The power line company wants to cut 10 to 15 feet of the top off of each tree, essentially cutting in half as they're 25 to 30 feet tall. They're giving me two options. One, cut the top off and side along the road and hope they survive and look okay. Two, remove them, mulch them for me on a pile on my property and stump grind. I don't have irrigation there, so it'll be hard to establish new trees or new smaller trees or bushes. What would you do? So when I answered this, I didn't have a lot of information. Now, if you look at the picture here that was provided, there's no power lines there. So my initial thought was eminent domain. They're coming in, the power line company wants to add new lines, and they're going to seize the property, and they just happen to want to go right there, not 5 feet to the right or the left, where it wouldn't be a problem. Well, it turns out I was wrong. That assumption was wrong. The picture was actually wrong. I was correct. Just to, toot my own horn and stroke my ego a little bit. But I basically said, look, neither are great options. You lose the trees either way, or at least the value in them, get them to pay you. And you got to have an appraisal to do that. Fortunately, Alexandra came on, and thank you for doing that, by the way, and kind of corrected me and made me a better person and let me know that, no, it's actually not those trees. She provided some other photos, which totally changes my answer. So I said eminent domain, they're coming in and they're just putting in new lines. She posted this picture that is basically showing, those are the different trees, you got lines. So my response is, you got a tree canopy. Even if you lose half of the trees, it's not great. 35-year-old trees are not, especially conifers. Honestly, conifer have that are cut in half. So of all the bad decisions, of all the bad situations, you got a pretty good situation, Alexandra, quite frankly. So, but that was a really, really great question, and I love that. I've considered doing another another Facebook group along the lines of like tree law and tree legalities and things like that. So y'all let me know if that's something you might be interested in. I'm not real serious about it, to be perfectly honest, because I don't even have enough time to run this group, quite frankly. But I'm over here working all day long, and I'm sick as a dog. Like, that's where I'm at. Just got to play catch up, you know. There's trees and people that need saving, so I got to go out and do my tree thing. But there is a subreddit called Tree Law, and it's blown up. It's got like 135,000 people in it, so it's a big need. Obviously, is how do I deal with the legalities behind trees and tree care in general? What happens if my neighbor's tree falls on my house? That sort of thing. So I deal with the litigation on that literally daily. I've done hundreds of cases where we deal with stuff like that, legal cases. Most of them, actually all of them except a couple, have actually been settled outside of court. We just settled on a case where a guy was unalived by a tree that fell, and the culprit, the perpetrators, if you will, the defendants in this case, it was a multi-billion-dollar company. So that was really cool that we won against that, because that's unheard of. They usually have much more strong and powerful lawyers than we can muster up. Trees, it turns out, don't have a lot of money, but it turns out there's a lot of money in trees too. So anyways, we made that work. And I love teaching this stuff too. So we're thinking about it. Y'all let me know in the comments if you think that's a great idea and we should do it. Is start a little tree law group here on the face webs, and maybe we'll do that. Maybe one day. Lynn's asking, Central Texas here, Blackland clay, huge pecan tree in a downward spiral. We have several others. We'll remove and want to replace with something not so messy and gives color in the fall. Planted Shumard oak to replace another a couple of years ago. Really like the tree. Think about doing the same. Just wondering about other options. Cedar elm or something else. Cedar elm is great in Central Texas. Blackland clay they really like. They actually do pretty well in it. Red buds, eastern red buds are going to be great. Ben, I'm watching you, Ben. Ben's Tree Service. Please do not spam the group. You're free to privately message, but never comment promoting your services. This is a big violation, can lead to being banned. I see you, Ben. I'm watching you, homie. I was wondering if that was you, Lucas. Just so y'all know, Lucas is much nicer than I am. I just insta-ban everybody. I'm like, goodbye, you are the weakest link. I've had that happen to me. Lucas is much nicer, so if you get a nice message like that, please adhere to it, because the next time I'm going to see it and you gone. So, just so you know. Moving on. Yeah, cedar elms are great. They will love the black clay, the Houston black clay that runs through there. The gumbo, as some people call it. Eastern redbuds are wonderful. Bald cypress gives a nice orange in the fall, but it's very short-lived. Live oaks are great. Absolutely, JK. Yeah, live oaks are wonderful trees in this area. They love that Houston black clay. Blacklands clay. Yeah, what other trees are great for that? Silver maples will give you a little bit of silvery yellowish color in the fall, but they don't do well here at all. Red maples do okay, but again, you're looking at 20, 25, 30, 45 years, somewhere in there, before you're going to have real big problems, even with red oak or red maples. Improving the soil. Yeah. The best choice is to improve the soil. That's going to be your best bet. Is if y'all think about it, is like the soil is like the stomach of the tree. Is us humans, when you take probiotic or you take antibiotics, you go to the doctor because you're sick like my sorry butt, and they give you antibiotics, which I'm not doing that yet. It hadn't gotten serious enough yet, but maybe one of these days it's going to be terrible. I'm going to be on my unalive bed and I'm going to go get some antibiotics. Well, what happens is those antibiotics are antibiotics. So they're going to unalive everything in your stomach as you pop those pills. And what happens then afterwards, they always recommend take probiotics, eat your nutriments and your Vegemins and stuff. Like take care of your stomach health, your stomach flora, because it turns out most of digestion is actually combustion, and that combustion is done by microbes. That combustion is essentially on a small, like an atomic level combustion, so you're not blowing up inside. Although, if you're like me, sometimes you get a little gaseous when you eat the wrong things. So that's what that is just not a good stomach flora situation. And so, guy hit the nail on the head. Is listen to Guy. He's a legend in the industry. Listen to Michael. He's a legend in the industry. Flood area at all. Lots of trees nearby. Cedar elm often does okay, but is a slow grower. I love cedar elm. They give that beautiful yellow color too. So those are some good options for fall color. All right, and I know I'm like slacking here, you guys. I gotta keep moving. Eagleston holly, sick tree. See pictures I googled. I don't fully trust. Appreciate y'all's knowledge. Ooh, that's sooty mold. So, Mark, what you got here is a sooty mold situation. Let me backtrack. I see wilted leaves. I see sooty mold. I see some sort of fungus going on here. I see aphids or some sort of sapsuckers on here. And I see some tip dieback. I'm going to make a silly wild butt guess, a swag, and I'm going to say that you've got a really, 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 really stressed tree. Now, there's a cool guy by the name of Dr. Tom Dykstra, and if you're welcome to check out his labs, dykstralabs.com. He has 3 entomology PhDs, 3 bug PhDs, y'all. I don't know anybody else that I've ever heard of that has 3 entomology PhDs. That is a true nerd, you guys. That's somebody that I want to be friends with and learn a lot from. He talks a lot about what's called Brix rating. That's BRIX. Now, Brix is essentially the measurement of the sugar concentration of a plant cell. And what you do, you take a device called a refractometer. I'm gonna fire my daughter for messing up all my pens here. Y'all can't even read that, can you? Is that better, Lucas? Brix rating. Brix is such a cool measurement. It basically measures the sugar content on a cellular level in plant cells. And essentially every bug on this planet was born without a pancreas. Now, a pancreas metabolizes sugar. So if they don't have the ability to metabolize sugar, what happens is it passes through. So, but the other thing is when you get a plant that has too much sugar in its leaves, and then that same bug goes to eat it, it just unalives. It clogs it up. Just like when you go and eat too much cheese or too many chips or whatever, it's going to clog you up. That's because your liver's overloaded and your stomach's overloaded. And same thing happens to bugs and yes. Oh, yeah. That's absolutely true. So they called the appendix like I forget what they call it, like it's left over from evolution. All the brilliant scientists who are now proven wrong. So the appendix job is to provide the microbes to the small intestines. It's a holder to help repopulate. There's actually several other benefits that the appendix does. And it turns out, again, God did it right. The appendix is not an unnecessary, what do they call it, vestibule organ. It's absolutely necessary. It's not necessary, like you can live without it, just like how preborn children can live outside of the womb with special medications and exceptions and modern medicine and things like that can help them stay alive. But the appendix is absolutely necessary. The bugs were born without a pancreas, though, and so what that means is they don't have the ability to take in sugar. So when you've got a plant that has a high sugar level, it is going to automatically, naturally provide its own insecticides. And so you see here, this is an azalea, it looks like, that Dr. Tom Dykstra has, and you can see it's kind of like not so great looking. But he talks so much about Brix rating. And the refractometer, by the way, this little device, I've got one in the garage. Maybe I'll bring it out one of these days. But refractometer basically takes light. You take a drop of the plant liquid, you put it on the lens, and then you look through it, and then it refracts the light, so you get this prism, and it's going to have a scale from like 0 to... that's fun. Yeah, I agree, Sprout. It's going to refract the light, and it's going to show you a measurement from like 0 to 20. And a Brix rating of 12 or higher, I've never seen a bug on. Not once. Never. So Dr. Dykstra, I'm sure, can maybe give you some examples of exceptions to that rule, but he's been around the block quite a bit more than I have. But for the most part, if you increase the sugar levels in the tree, which is mostly carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen, that's C6H12O6, which the plant base... Okay, so y'all know what leaves do, right? Leaves... That's a leaf, supposedly. That's a live oak leaf, I think. So what happens is CO2 goes into the tree from there. Oxygen comes up the tree from the ground. Can y'all see that? No, you can't. You can't even read that. Oxygen goes O2 in from the ground. And water goes up from the ground. And the leaf takes the sunlight's energies, the rays. What was that? ATP, I think it is. ADT, ATP. Yeah. And it uses that energy from the sun's rays to convert water, carbon dioxide, and O2 or oxygen into C6. H12O6. That is glucose or sugar. So basically, leaves make sugar. And it's a wonderful, brilliant design that only somebody like God Almighty can come up with. Quite frankly, it's unbelievable because that becomes the building block of the tree. Trees are made of 45% carbon, 45% oxygen, and 3 to 4% hydrogen, and a maximum of 3% nitrogen. By the way, nitrogen is 78% of the air we breathe. Chemical nitrogen is a scam. You don't need chemical nitrogen if you've got a decompacted soil and an overall healthy tree. What do leaves do? We just talked about that. How are you going to ask that? What's up, Tree Checkup? Yeah, leaves essentially feed the tree. That's what they do. Tree Checkup, I know who you are. Mr. Snow. It's great to have you with me, buddy. John, by the way, is a legend in the industry, or becoming one at least. He's the president, I think head or president or something, chair of the... Florida Urban Forestry Council. Great guy and brilliant arborist. So thanks so much for being here, John. Great to have you, dude. Anyways, we're just talking nerd stuff. John, you probably know Dr. Tom Dykstra. He's a cool dude. He's actually coming to Houston here. I'm going to see him here on the 26th of this month, so I'm excited about that. Anyways, I'm over here just rambling on. Y'all don't want to hear this. So what we have going on with this Eagleston holly in Houston, it looks like. Eagleston or Savannah holly of some sort. I can't remember. What was it, Lucas? Eagleston. Yeah, Eagleston holly. Excuse me. Still fighting off this thing. So you've got sooty mold, you've got droopy leaves, you've got a very, very, very stressed tree. What I would do is look at the compaction levels in the soil, make sure you're not doing any type of herbicide or any type of weed and feed type product. You've got bugs chewing on it. You've got a chlorotic leaf, which means it's lacking in nutrients. You might want to get a soil test done, soil sample pulled. You can find your local agriculture extension here. Just look up your state. By the way, that's going to be Texas. And Mark, I'm in Houston too. I'm happy to help you out. If you want a closer look at it in person, let me know. I'm happy to swing by. I don't do a lot of consulting locally. It's mostly digital, but most of what I do anyways. But I love helping my neighbors out. We got a lot of Eagleston hollies that struggle here in Houston, and a lot of it's the black gumbo clay. It's not for lack of nutrients. It's lack of nutrient availability. Big difference. So you've got the right nutrients probably. I will caveat that probably in the soil, but they're probably locked up in the clay. Clay has a very strong electrochemical bond, and it can often be unavailable to the trees, especially if you've got a lack of microbes. That's a big deal. A lot of those microbes actually chelate the minerals out of the soil and make them nutritionally available to the tree. All right. I think we talked about Tom's tree, didn't we, Lucas? Yeah, we talked about Tom's peach tree last time. So we're going to scroll on down. We're going to check out some of these. Okay, we looked at this one. We looked at this one. We looked at this one. 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 I never called Jeff. We looked at Marion's. White oak started from seed, seeing what happens through the winter. I love it, Pink Phoenix. Keep that up. We need more people like you planting good trees. Worms are good. Worms are good. Yeah, they aerate the soil. Except those, what's the jumping jack worm or something like that? There's some crazy Chinese jumping worm that just eats all of the forest litter, all of it. It's invasive because it's got too much of a voracious appetite. But that's a problem we deal with here. I don't see it a lot of as a big problem with trees, mostly with just the grass and surrounding landscape plants. Okay, so what's that?
There's 185 comments on it.
Where's that?
Chris Collins is right under it. Tom's that bond raping ones.
Huh?
Cutting this widow maker tree.
We covered that last Tuesday. Yeah. All right, I think we're on Keith Middleton. So I have a lot of pine trees, and the first pick is a unalived pine that obviously got beetles of some sort. The second pick is a live pine, but has holes in it. Is this also beetles? How can I tell what kind of beetles? Alabama, I think you guys have pretty bad pine bark beetles in Alabama. I know you, John, maybe you know. That's kind of over near your turf. What do you think? Are there pine bark beetles in Alabama? I think the answer is heck yeah, but I just don't know. I need to see some closer pictures, Keith. I don't know the true answer there. Let me see. I can look this up. Our Southern or IPS engraver beetles in Alabama. Yes, both of them are. Okay, so you probably got some pine bark beetles, buddy. And again, I'm gonna give you the same link. This is just a little blog that I put together with all of the United States agriculture extensions on it. And give yours a call. I think that's going to be University of Alabama, but I'm not sure. But what you can do and just ask questions. You get a lot of plant nerds in those agriculture extensions, and 9 times out of 10, they just want somebody to talk to. And so if you ask them good questions that are relevant, there's a really good chance they're going to be able to go in and and just figure out what it is. Like they love the forensics and the diagnostics of it. Okay, so Sprout's asking, have you looked at any of the videos or posts I made about the pruning yet? I know I keep commenting about this, but I just want to know how you think of it since you have some good info on pruning. I have not, Sprout. Maybe we could do that at the end of this because we're like right at the end of this. So maybe we need to go back and look at that. Let me get through like 2 or 3 more because I'm slacking on my end. Is it okay if I send you an email for you to look at the trees I trimmed with a bonus 8-foot wide black black willow picture because I think it's a ginormous tree? Yeah, please, man. Anytime, dude. Anytime. Feel free to send me an email. Let me check it out because you've got some awesome videos. Okay, we're gonna go through. We're gonna look at the other videos first because I need to answer to do. Hey, what's up, Marty? I just saw your email come through. That's fun. Okay, delete if not allowed. What would you guys be able to remove this section of this tree in blue? I will be renting a spider lift. I'm somewhere between 17 to 1900, but this is definitely the biggest tree I've ever done, so I want to be sure I'm doing it safely and giving myself the budget to do so. If you got a spider lift, you're probably looking at like $800 in expenses right off the bat. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the same. Pine bark or IPS engraver. It's one of the two, I think. Getting back to Keith's question. Yeah, I looked it up. According to the almighty AI robots, i.e. Google tards, maybe is the right word. Yes, there are definitely IPS and southern pine bark beetles in the Alabama area. So I don't know exactly where you're at in Alabama, but Dadeville, I have no idea where that is, honestly. So, but you probably are looking at that. John agrees. Pine bark beetles or IPS engraver beetles. Both are going to be pretty nasty. The pine bark beetles are going to prefer just any old pine tree. The IPS beetles, engraver beetles, are going to prefer stress trees. So, which came first, the chicken or the egg, the stress or the tree or the beetle? It's usually it's stress first, not always. Some insects, some bugs, some pests, some pathogens will just destroy entire species all willy-nilly like it's no big deal. And so, I think the same thing. I think it's IPS or IPS engraver beetles or southern pine bark, but I'm not sure, to be honest. That's where your entomologist and your local agriculture extension is really going to be your best friend. Reach out to them. They'll tell you how to manage it best. A lot of times you could do some preventative treatments on the remaining ones, but it depends how many you have too. Is it worth it? I don't know. Too many questions to ask. All right, so let's go through a couple more here. Nana Chan is 1700 to 1900s, probably about what my guys would require to get that down. I think that's fair. Just that one limb. Yeah, you're going to have to negative rig onto the roof or bring a crane out there. If you get a crane out there, I'll finish it for you in an hour. Easy mode. Well, back in my climbing days anyways. Homie don't play that anymore. I'm getting too old and fat, y'all. What's that? Yeah, technically Lucas is my senior here too, by the way. I'm just a punk kid according to him. Ha! All right, so Daniel Young is asking, greetings. So happy a group like this exists. So happy you're here at a group like this that is existing. Daniel, thanks for joining us, buddy. I have an oak tree that folded over in an ice storm around 2020. I cut it down assuming a loss, but it grew back as a thriving bush. I'm hesitant to select an individual branch to try to grow into a normal tree. I do have one girthy 3 to 4 inch 8-foot option. Number 1. Okay, I think number 1 is in red. I'm gonna jump back and forth. Yeah, 1's in red, 2's in blue. Okay, so you got a big old tree number 1, or a big old trunk number 1. Number 2, section options number 2. It's stout and straight, but still has a slightly curved base, maybe 2.5 and 4 inches. I would leave, or should I just keep it trimmed as a bush? A bush is not going to promote a good structure overall long term, and you got it in a. There's a difference between a forest grown tree and a field grown tree. This would be a forest or a field grown tree, essentially. It's going to grow different than a forest tree. Forest tree is going to compete for light. It's going to grow straight up. Have to see the grass better. Yeah, I agree on the pine bark situation. I don't know. We need some closer pictures. Whoever you are. Not Daniel. Who was that? I don't remember. Yeah, so what I would do, I would pick number two, or number one rather, personally. And I would subordinate the rest of them, cut them shorter. So like, I'll give you an example. Let's do this. Hmm. All right, so check it out, yo. Daniel, we're gonna make a pretty picture for you, and then I'll save it to you and send it to you. Here's what I would do exactly. Remember, though, this is all speculative. None of this is designed to be good, solid advice. What I would do is I would reduce these limbs. To the points that I am giving you. And that what I would do, I would leave that main primary dominant lead. I don't see that root flare being a problem right now. The reason I don't see that root flare being a problem right now is because the tree is very, very, very young. And very, very young trees can adapt. You can prove this by looking at anything bonsai, like anything. Is you're essentially bonsai is damaging and destroying trees until it looks the way you want it. That is what bonsai is, and therefore I have just recently started on bonsaiing. That's a new thing that I do now, y'all. Um, yeah, apically dominant. Yes, so that's the right terminology. Daniel is apical dominance. You want to make sure you've got a tree that's apically dominant right now, and so that's a great thing. Oops, denial. I can't even type right now. This is how sick I am, you guys. I'm like a mess. I'm just an emotional wreck. Daniel. Okay. So Daniel, I will go ahead, and that's a great name, by the way. That's my son's name. Did I seriously click the wrong X? I seriously clicked the wrong X. That's how that goes, y'all. This is something I would do for sure. Ay, Dios mío. I would love to see that video sprout. I really would. Oops. Did we go too far, y'all? I think we went too far. No, we didn't. We looked at these. I remember.
Something that I have maybe much with.
Okay, so here Yeah. Yes. All right, Sprout, you're gonna have to guide me along here. I'm gonna check out your video because that's such a fun way to do this, to end this live stream. Oh, that's not what I need. Oh, sweet. Okay, so your email's got the post. I'm on like heavy doses of Dayquil right now. Acetaminophen's a great drug, it turns out. Oh wow. Ugh. Let's check out what Sprout's got, y'all. It's got some trees here. Some pictures of the ash trees I pruned 2 weeks ago. 1 to 3 of them are good. Okay, we got it. 1 to 3 of them are 1 tree I prune. 1 through 3 are 1 tree I prune. I also am treating it for EAB, and personally, I think it looks great. EAB, I think on smaller trees like that, you can treat as a trunk and canopy spray. It seems to work better, but you don't want to do trunk injections on like tiny, tiny little trees like that. Okay, 4 to 10 are of a whole of the tree, and there are also some pictures of individual cuts on it. This is growing right next to cottonwood clumps, so I'll have to remove some cottonwood limbs to help it grow the best it can. Cuts may get some freeze damage, but for the most part, since they are small, the tree should be okay. Also, I want to tell you something. Without Jesus, I wouldn't be here doing tree work. It sounds weird, but before my fascination with trees, I was honestly lost without any direction to go. I felt left out of many activities. This ties into Jesus because he's given me the eyes for trees and the talent to work on them. Glory to God. If you don't agree with me on this section, then just admire the trees, and I want you to know that you are loved. Stay safe and have a great day. Wow, what a guy, man. I like your style, Sprout. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, the more I study creation and the things thereof, the more I realize, like, it's way too complicated for it to happen on its own. It requires a mind. That's how these things work. Y'all ever read a book that wasn't written by anybody? I never have either. That's how that works. It takes a mind to put the information into an organized, structured standpoint. I'm doing slow treatments. What's that, Lucas?
I said you could kind of say a tree is a book that no one's ever.
A tree is a book. Yeah, it's got genetic. Y'all ever heard of the Book of Life? That's called DNA. That's what it is. It's organized information. And that information is codified to where when nature and life happens and causes that to grow, causes those cells to grow into things. And the DNA is what defines what those things become. So, yeah, tell me there's no God. I'll tell you about nature and the trees that I study. And I'll tell you how cool it is, because it turns out nature, Romans 1 talks about, let's do this, because this is just for fun. Romans 1. Let that load for a minute. Oh, dude, this is really good pruning. Yeah, I like that. So you did a reduction cut here, so you're establishing apical dominance. Sprout, I do see a codominant lead here. I see that, but everything else, and that's okay, because you can do it in pruning cycles. You don't have to remove that right now, but I definitely see a codominant lead right in here. Everything else, like you've reduced the competing leads, this one and this one mostly, and it looks like maybe this one could use a good reduction as well, but that could just be the camera angle too. That's a beautiful cut. Yeah, so whenever you're making a cut like this, guys, you want to do So it's called a reduction cut, reduction pruning. Oh, I feel terrible, y'all. Okay, so you got a branch here. You got another branch that comes out. And what you could do is reduce a limb. Instead of removing the whole branch at the base here, you could take a limb like this and remove this portion of it. What you want to do when you're making that reduction cut, let's do a little different. So here's my really terrible limb, y'all. You like it? I don't. So let's say I have to remove this. So what you want to do is draw, I'm going to use a different color. I like pink, y'all. How's pink? Pink looks good. So you draw an imaginary line along the same angle of the branch. Like if this branch were not here, that would be the angle the branch would be going, right? So that's cool. And then we want to draw a line essentially 90 degrees from where the attachment point is of this branch. So you got a line here and you got a line here. And then you want to bisect those two branches. So you've got essentially this would be your cut. And I'm going to go ahead and help y'all out here because that looks like you're not going to be able to see that very well. But essentially we've got our imaginary line, and then we intersect the two. That's going to be your cut, is that purple line right there. And there you go. And the tree's going to be able to seal that over very nicely. That's very important to make on these reduction cuts. Those reduction cuts. It's very important. And Sprout, I might have gone a little bit closer down here on the bottom side, but I think overall you're on the right track. Well done, buddy. That's an awesome reduction pruning loom. Sorry. Hope y'all don't have vertigo now. Welcome to Tree World, man. We live in a three-dimensional world and the whole canopy moves. All right, back to Sprout's question. All right, so that's a great cut. That's a really great cut. Just outside the branch bark ridge, maybe a little far out on the top side, but overall not bad. The tree's going to seal that over very nicely. This top cut, like I said, you've got your branch bark ridge here. You've got your imaginary lines about here. I might have gone a little bit closer to like this angle right here. But overall, I think you did a great job, dude. Yeah. Let's take a look at this first one because I didn't look too close at it. Oh, dude, that's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, you've got reduction, reduction, reduction. You've got a little bit of a competing apical dominant limb competing for apical dominance here, but not a big deal. Yeah, no, you're starting to form that structure really, really nicely. That's what you want to see, dude. Wait, well done. I have nothing but kudos for you, Sprout. Well done, man. Oh, bro, no, I'm not. That's not a critique. That's not a criticization, whatever. In my tired, sick stupor. No, that's not a critique. That we call that pruning cycles. You do a little bit now, a little bit next pruning cycle in the next winter or whatever. That's totally normal. You don't want to stress the tree out by pruning too much. You can absolutely prune far too much and stress the tree out. Now you got bug problems. Now you got to remove the whole tree, so you got nothing. So yeah, I'm totally good with that. Do a little bit now, do a little bit later, and you look back 3-5 years down the road, and you won't have to do much at all. So I sadly made a flush cut on the top of the first one because of the pole saw issues. That's fine, dude. You're brand new at this. I'm not gonna expect you to get it perfect every time. And you've got a young tree that you're working with, and those young trees are extremely resilient, so not a huge deal. But man, I really appreciate the question, Sprout. You've been a wonderful wonderful part of this group, man. We're glad to have you, and I'm happy to help you out any way I can, dude. So all right, y'all. With that, I'm gonna go take some more medication and go be sick some more, which basically means just being horizontal. laying down and not doing any of this being vertical stuff anymore because I'm dying a little bit. Yeah, please send it over to me. Yeah, of course, Sprout. Glad to have you here. Like I said, man, we're really grateful to have you as a part of this group. And to all the rest of you that joined us and have been hanging out with me, talking trees and blabbering on and on about life in its grand scheme. Guys, we're really grateful to have you guys here. Again, if you need help, a closer look at your trees, or need help getting guided in the right direction, it's arboristondemand.com. We do consulting no matter where you are in the world. And, anything from tree planting and plants choice to proper installation to like construction and planning development, things like that, all the way up to expert witness litigation work. Like I said, I've got 2 cases going on in the Canadias right now, 1 case over in Ireland right now, and we work anywhere I'm needed. Really is. And I fight for a just cause. I don't just take whatever case because they're willing to pay me. I take the case that I believe in. So if you've got a case and you think that you need help with a property dispute or a neighbor dispute, I am tree and plant appraisal qualified, and we'd love to help you out. But again, if you're a tree service or a landscape service and you need a good expert like me on your team, we're happy to help you out as well. Just go into the services section at arboristondemand.com, and we're looking at Pro Arborist Support or Partner Program, PASP or PAP for short. And we offer up to 30% off of reports and services, up to 5 hours of time each and every month. And make sure your guys and your crew are going in the right direction. And we really just become your arborist advocates. So again, thank y'all for being here. Keep those great questions coming. We'll be back live next Tuesday to answer more and more and more of your awesome tree questions. And again, be sure and check us out on the Tubes of You over at YouTube. Just look for Arborist on Demand. We're trying to grow that channel a lot this year. And you too, Sprout. Have a great night, and I hope I get healthy too, man. I hope you stay healthy, and I hope I get healthy. But love you guys, and we'll see y'all next time. Later.